I just woke up. This is real tea this time. It's not obligatory tea. I do need this morning. So, I've been doing a lot of finishing my whips videos. This time, instead of doing projects that I've been working on, it's all projects that I have already finished, and all of them have issues that I would like to fix. The first project is the Lola top by Veronica Lindbergh, aka Kudovikika. I made this, I think, like a year and a half ago, very shortly after she released the pattern. Normally this is done in stripes, but I decided to go for a solid color because I wanted the texture to really show off, and because I have a fear of horizontal stripes. I say while I'm wearing that, you know, I'm getting better. We're getting better. We're overcoming our fears on this channel. That's what's happening. As I was working on this, I just ran out of yarn, and so I ended it thinking that it would be cropped enough, and it was cropped more than enough. So I bought some more yarn, and I'm gonna add probably like an inch or two to the bottom of this. Next up, we have this sweater that I almost never wear. I don't know if this is going to become like a wardrobe staple of mine or not, but I at least want to try and give it a fair shot. So I'm not wearing it the way it currently is, and I'm gonna fix the things that bother me. Number one is I want to fix the collar. I did a double folded over collar with this like thick cotton yarn, so it's just stiff and not cute, and it's not what I want. It's too short. I don't know why I did that. I shouldn't have done that, but we're gonna fix that. And then I also want to make this short sleeve instead of long sleeve because it's a cotton top, so I want to be able to wear it in the summer. Yeah, so that's this one. And the last one is almost a little bit hard to let go of, but I think it's the right choice. You can watch my like trying on all my knits videos if you haven't already, just to see me talk more about this piece, and all of these actually. But essentially this sweater is just too warm. I made it with Drops Wish. It was the first time I had ever made a bulky sweater. It was actually my second sweater, self-drafted. I wanted to have sort of a modern take on vintage ski sweaters, even though I do not ski. And while I like how the pattern came out aesthetically, I don't wear it because it's just too dang hot for me. I don't get that cold in the winter. But along with all the pieces that I mentioned in my trying on all my knit sweater video, there was a bunch of them that I wanted to give away, and I have given away most of them to people that want them. And a friend of mine wanted this sweater, but she has very long arms, and the sleeves on this were meant for me, and I'm 5 feet tall. I have very short arms, and I don't have any more yarn for this, so that'll be a challenge, but I'm gonna try to make these sleeves bigger. Everything else can probably stay the way it is, except I did mention this is what the inside looks like because I was too lazy to weave in all these ends, and I did not know about intarsia at this point. I did try to weave in some of the ends, you can see here. So I think what I'm gonna do, and someone recommended that I do this, is braid these together, and I've seen that before, and this would be a perfect thing to do that with. Here we go. Yeah, I'll try to braid those together. So those are my 3 projects. As usual, I do not have a timeline on this because I don't want to have a timeline on this. I'll get them done when I get them done, and I will see you. I feel like it's honestly gonna be a week or 2 before I record the next clip. Isn't that funny? Or maybe it'll be later today and I'll just get a random like shot of motivation. Wouldn't that be nice? You know what, I got some time. I have my dance class that I leave for in like 45 minutes, but I got some time up until then, so maybe I will try to braid some of these right now. This is really soft. I wish I liked Drops Wish. I'm not a chunky yarn person. I run way too warm to introduce chunky yarns into my life, at least at this point. Okay, the hard thing with braiding this is gonna be keeping it somewhat loose. Oh, some of these ends are so short. That's all right, I'm just gonna do my best, and that's really all anyone can ask for. Yesterday, my husband and I went to the movies, and it was so fun because he suggested that we do a double feature, which is something I've always wanted to do. I have been a big movie theater goer my whole life thus far. This is not working the way I want it to. These are just so short. So I was really excited, and it ended up being a really good time. So the first movie we saw is the movie Trap, which is just like a fun like thriller. I was entertained. It's not really gory, but it's basically a dude that goes to a concert with his daughter, and at the concert he finds out that the whole concert is just a trap to catch this one notorious serial killer. Well, you find out immediately, and this is in the trailer, that that guy is the serial killer that they are talking about, and he is trying to escape the concert, and that's kind of the whole concept. So me and my husband both enjoyed that. I'm trying to enjoy movies more. I find that the older I get, the more critical I've been getting of movies, and I've been enjoying them less, which I specifically didn't want to happen to me. I knew all these smart adults growing up, and they would talk about movies, and then they would just pick them apart, and I'm like, oh, how sad that you don't actually get to enjoy the movies you watch. analyzing them to death, and I'm doing the exact same thing, so I need to fix that. I enjoyed my time watching that movie. I had a good time. And then we saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was also just like a fun time. It's a funny movie. They brought back a Marvel character that I have been wanting to be brought back for quite some time, and I'm not going to say who it is so I don't give it away, but if you've seen it, it was the character that's in the end credits scene. Okay, I don't know about this braiding thing here. I'm gonna show you what I'm rocking right now. Okay, so this is braided. It's kind of making it a little bit too bulky. I think this braiding technique would be really good on like a fingering weight yarn or anything a little bit smaller, but I think this is just too bulky of a yarn to do this with. Sad. Okay, well, you know what? We tried. We certainly tried. I think instead maybe I'll focus on doing the sleeves first, and then I'll figure out if I feel like weaving in the ends. They don't need to be. They're all tied in knots. They're pretty secure. It's wool, so it's very, like, it's a pretty grabby, and it's grabbed onto itself quite a bit. Should I procrastinate or should I do that right now? Because that'll take like a minute. Oh, now you want to crawl into my lap when I have to get up? How do you know? They know. They always know. They know when you need to get up and go somewhere. So cute. You're so cute. All right, I'm going to turn it over to future me that has the energy to work on the sleeves. I am so sleepy. And now I'm gonna work on the sleeve because I should really just start on this. Otherwise, I'm never gonna do that. There's a reason that I never fixed any of these things before, because I have not been able to motivate myself to do it yet. If I ask nicely, will you unravel yourself for me? Oh boy, this better not be felted, I swear. If you are felted, you're not getting fixed. I'm tired, I don't want to do math. Is it okay if I just don't do this today? I'm just gonna not. My husband's in the other room gaming with some of his friends, and I just heard him say some really sweet stuff about me. I am feeling much better today, and I am so glad that I stopped yesterday for multiple reasons, because I realized when I was unraveling this, I never really took measurements or asked my friend how long she wanted the sleeves to be. So I had her stop by yesterday and she tried on the sweater, and then we were talking about it and she was like, I actually really love the fit of this, how it's kind of flared. I just want it to be a little bit longer. And I was like, okay, what do you want to do for the hem here? Do you want it to be ribbed, kind of like the collar and the base? And she was like, no, I just kind of want it to be like a somewhat raw edge. And I was like, okay, just so you know, if you do that, it'll roll up on itself a little bit. And sometimes people do that intentionally. I just want you to know that it won't just stay like nice and perfect unless I maybe do an I-cord edge. And she was like, you know what? I would love to try a rolled hem. So I am going to do that. Basically, when I'm about to run out of yarn, I'll just bind off and this will be a rolled hem and I'll have her try it on again. And if she likes it, then we move forward with that. That's so much easier than unraveling both of the sleeves completely and redoing it, especially because this is a balloon sleeve. So on this one, I just have to peel back like 4 or 5 rows and then knit a row or 2 and bind off. So this just got a whole lot easier. I also found my journal entry from 2021 where I wrote about this sweater. I finished it December 22nd, 2021, and I called it the Chalet Sweater, and I used 9mm needles. I wrote down, my first raglan style sweater, very soft and warm. The V-shape was tough to get on the shoulders, but it turned out really well. I'm weaving in the ends, and it sucks. That sounds about right. I used Drops Wish yarn, and I used the colors Off-White and Tabasco, in case anybody was curious about the colors. So I'm just going to get this back on some needles and knit it up. So yesterday, shortly after talking to you about the Chalet Sweater, I finished both the sleeves, like, within an hour. Like, who knows over time how much the edge will roll, but right now the rolling is pretty minimal, so we'll see. While I've been working on this, I've been thinking, oh my gosh, I actually don't want to give this away. I forgot how soft it is, and I really like the look of it. But then I tried it on after I was finished, and I knew immediately, yeah, this needs to go. I'm never gonna wear this. It's somehow oversized and too small at the same time. Next up, we have what I think I've been calling the coastal sweater. The fun thing about self-drafting patterns is you get to name them whatever the heck you want. And even when you follow patterns, you can name your sweaters. You know you're allowed to do that, right? Found my journal entry, and it's less than a year old. Did I say less than? It's more than a year old. And I called it the coastal winter sweater initially, next to a very interesting journal entry about my first time wearing a bright red swimsuit. I used Capri Eco Cotton, 4.5 balls of it to make this, and I used 5mm and 7mm needles. So plan for this sweater is I want to remove the sleeves and make it a short sleeve sweater, and then I also want to do something different with this neckline. I still have not fully decided what I want to do. So I think I'm just gonna start with the sleeves. I know what I wanna do. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna go for that might be cute with this is I want to have rolled edges. I want to have rolled edges everywhere because that's what I did at the bottom. I didn't do like a super finished edge. I just did the normal bind, like the first bind off that everyone learns, the yarn over bind off. So I'm just going to do that, I think, for the sleeves. And then what I want to do then for the neckline is do the whole thing stockinette stitch and go up maybe like 2 inches and have that naturally roll down. That could be cute. That could be a vibe. I'm into this. Okay, so that's the game plan. I don't think I have any more of this gray yarn laying around, so I think I'll have to do the sleeves first so that I have yarn to actually do the neckline then. So far, this like fixing my finished objects like video has been easier than my finishing my whips video. I feel like I usually have a lot left to do on my whips, and this one is just like, nope, we're just gonna do a different edge here, or like just little changes. Easy changes. Okay, so for the sleeve, I just picked a random spot with no rhyme or reason. This is not the best way to approach it, but it's the way I'm approaching it. And I'm just picking up stitches to put them on my circulars. I'll cut the row above it and then just do a regular standard bind off. Something I find annoying about picking up stitches like this though, and I almost never do this, I have a hard time knowing what stitch is in the same row because my eyes kind of play tricks on me and it's hard for me to focus just on one stitch when I'm looking at the whole thing. As you can see, my stitches, there are multiple ways to do it, but the way I'm doing it is I'm just kind of picking through this string here to unravel it. Usually I'm pretty lazy and I will just cut the entire row and remove it and just like pinch off all the little scraggly bits left over, but I'm feeling a little bit more patient today, so. I did it. Both sleeves have been shortened. So I'm not weaving in any ends this video. I feel like that's just not happening. I'm noticing a trend where I just have ends by all my sleeves. But the next step is to do the collar. So my plan is basically the same thing I did for the sleeve. So I'm gonna pick up stitches all around the collar and then cut and remove the collar. And then I'm going to take some of the yarn that I have left over from one of the sleeves and use that to knit a new collar. And I'll just go for a couple inches or until it feels right. Something that I definitely want to keep in mind is my needle size as I do this, because here's my thoughts. I think I use 7mm needles to knit the body of the sweater. I think I'm actually going to use like maybe 5.5mm needles to knit the collar portion because I want it to go in. And I'm just afraid that if I knit it with 7mm needles, it'll be kind of flopsy. So I want it to go in, and then I'll keep an eye on it because I feel like this is really shrunk over time. So if I feel like it's still too loose, then I might continue switching needles. So like once I get and do an inch, then I'll switch to one needle size down. Although, maybe I don't want to go too tight of a needle size, because then if I'm just doing a regular bind off and I'm not making it stretchy, which I kind of want to do, it might be hard to get over my head, but maybe I should really just suck it up and do a stretchy bind off. Because the regular bind off is going to give me a cleaner look. What a dilemma. Maybe what I'll do is when I finish it, like when I'm getting to the point of needing to bind off, then I'll put this on a stitch holder and I'll try it on, and if it feels like it would be too tight, then I'll go with a stretchy bind off. That way I can make a slightly more educated decision. Okay, I just separated the collar, so totally did it. And I think at this point what I'm gonna do, I have a 5.5 millimeter needle, and I think I'm gonna try to knit just about an inch in normal stockinette stitch, no decreases, and then we'll see how it looks, and then I might switch to a 5 millimeter needle for the final inch. I can't believe how quickly this is going. In one day, I did this. In one day. Like, I know it was probably just like 3 hours of effort put into this, but still, one day, and this was fixed, and I've been procrastinating on this for how long? I've been upset with this piece for so long. A year I haven't worn this. I could have been doing this so much earlier. I'm really excited that I've just knocked the first two out so quickly in just a couple of days. I thought this was going to take weeks. Like, normally finishing my whip videos take like 3 weeks from start to finish at least. And it's just been like a couple days. I have been knitting like crazy the past couple days and my finger is really starting to hurt. So I'm going to take a break and hopefully tomorrow it feels a little bit better. And then I think I'll start on the tank top if it does. Otherwise, I'll wait a couple days. There's no need to get injured here in the sake of knitting. But also, real quick, maybe it's just me, but like, look at how cute. Hi, Berry. Hello. She's going to the vet tomorrow. Her ears, something's been happening to them and they've been getting scabbed and infected. She ended up having this huge, like, pus-filled I don't need to get into this. I don't need to get into that. All right, day 4 since I started this video, which is wild. I almost always lose track of the days because it's like weeks or months to do like the finishing my whip videos. So my only plan for this one is to cut off like the bottom here, put it back on my needles, and then knit an additional like inch or two. The pattern actually wants you to do a rib stitch for the bottom here, but I didn't want to do that. And I liked how it looked just like this. And because it's a broken rib stitch and like a rib of any sort, it doesn't really curl up at the bottom. So it just sits really nicely. I'm feeling lazy, so I'm just gonna cut the bottom off instead of unraveling it and try to get it onto some needles. I looked through the pattern like online. I found my journal entry where I wrote about it, and I did not write down what needle size I used. And then I looked through the pattern in my binder because I often print out, like when I buy a digital pattern, I'll print it out and put it in this book. And I didn't write it down either, like on this one. I didn't write it down. And the pattern calls for 4 millimeter needles, but looking at this, I'm like, there's no way I used 4 millimeter needles. This is such a small gauge. I think I used 3 millimeter needles for the whole thing. So I'm gonna start with 3 millimeter needles, and if that looks wrong, then I'll just deal with it. And by deal with it, I obviously mean unravel what I've done and redo it. The reason that I did this really cropped, like too shorter than I want it to be, is because I ran out of yarn. But in my most recent yarn purchase from Drops, I snagged an extra ball of Drops Bell. I think it's the almond rose color. It is color 21. And I'm hoping that you can't tell the color difference, especially because I finished this when did I do this? End of 2022, 2 years ago. I feel like I should lower you so you can actually see what's going on. We're just gonna go for it. We're not gonna think about it. We're not gonna overthink it. Not gonna give ourselves time for that. I should grab some better scissors. So I have not read much at all since I started this YouTube channel, just because I don't have like as much free time as I used to. And reading is kind of lower on my list of hobbies, but I did, to try to get out of my reading slump, I read the first Hunger Games book again, which I read just after the first movie had come out. And it was the first book that I had ever read and enjoyed voluntarily. I was not a reader as a child, and I liked it so much that I wanted to know how it ended. So that week, because my sisters had read all the books, I snagged their books and read through the whole series in just a couple of days. And I'm really glad that I picked it up. I haven't really reread a fiction book before. I had a great time. It was like the movie, but a little bit slower pace. So, and just like 2 days ago, I finished rereading the first book, and I found out that day that, is it Suzanne Collins? Has another book coming out in the Hunger Games world. Anyways, I think it's called Sunrise on the Reaping, and so I have heard it's about Hamish's Hunger Games, and if that's the case, I am very excited because it's in the second book, I'm guessing, and I want to reread that one next, when Katniss watches clips from Hamish's Hunger Games and is talking about that, because he was in a quarter quell where I think they reaped double the kids, like that was the shtick that year, that instead of 24 kids going to the Hunger Games, it was 48. I just remember that being such a short part, like they just offhandedly mentioned it in the book, and I was like, I want to know way more about Hamish's Hunger Games. I am so many questions, so many follow-up questions, and I've been wanting to know more about it. It just is one of those things that's really bothered me, that like we didn't get to hear more about it. So I am cautiously very excited. And if they do a movie for it, I really hope it's more with the tone of the first and second movie. I should look up if they all had different directors or something, but the first and second Hunger Games movies were my favorite for sure. Today, me and my husband took our cat Mary to the vet. She's not gonna die or anything, I mean, as far as we know, but we took her to the vet like a month ago, and it was our first time ever having to take a cat to the vet because something was wrong. We've only had to take them to get like their regular shots. We noticed that Mary had a rash on one of her ears, and it just kept popping up, like little rashes and scabs just kept popping up. And we thought maybe it was mites or something, but they're indoor cats and our other cat is totally fine, so we don't know. So we took her to the vet, and the vet checked for everything and was like, nope, it's like, I have no idea. I have no idea what this is. So they gave us a topical treatment, and we just were rubbing that ointment on her ears, and she was fine, like they were going away, but then they came back, and they came back a lot worse, and it just looked so painful. And we don't have cat pain meds or anything, and she acts fine, and she's still playing and has energy, and she's like, she doesn't seem hurt, or she's not like sneaking away all day to be in pain or anything. I know with cats it can be hard to tell, but she seems fine. But I wish I could just talk to her and know, like, are you actually fine or not? Took her to the vet again, saying like, hey, it got worse, and the vet was basically just like, all right, the only thing left to do at this point is use the ointment, but use it for a much longer period this time, like for a couple months, and then after a couple months, when you like just stop using it, and if the rashes and scabs come back, then you'll have to go to a cat dermatologist. And she said it was going to be probably between $500 and $1,000 for that, and so we got to start saving up for that. But we've got it's been a lot of financial hits this summer. And I had been like telling people we had been doing great. We finally got on our feet with finances. We got it figured out. Everything's going really well. And then just one thing after the other. It just needs to stop. Like, I need a break from this. It's fine. It will be fine. And she'll be fine. And thank goodness we have months to save and prepare for taking her to the dermatologist. So I get really emotional when I feel like the cats are not doing great, because they're my responsibility. It's my job to take care of them and make sure that they live happy, healthy lives. Otherwise, I should not have a cat. And it's just driving me crazy that we don't know what's up with her. Switching topics drastically. I am almost done getting this back on my needles, and I think I took off about 1/2 inch, so I got to remember to do 2.5 inches, but luckily I have my stitch holding cords, so I can use that to do fit checks and make sure that everything fits the way I want it to. Oh, I'll need to find where the beginning of the round is so that I know where the broken rib stitch starts and stops. If anyone ever says anything mean to you, I will personally beat them up. Okay, I'm just realizing now that I left mascara on. So now I need to get out of bed and wash my face. Ugh. But I just wanted to share that I've been working on my tank top, and I think the new yarn is a different color, but I'm choosing not to care. I really couldn't care less, but I've done like an inch and a half. I think I might do another inch because I'm not having a bad time. I've been in such a knitting rut like all summer, and it's been a while since I've been in a knitting rut. And these projects have helped like drag me out of it. I feel fully sparked to like work on a ton of projects again. It's just like a little bit and then you're done. Like that's the finished object. Did you have a rough time at the vet? Did a lady poke around your ears a lot? I know, that sucked. She looked at us the whole appointment like we just betrayed her. I've never seen her so mad. I've never seen her mad. It's not an emotion I thought she was capable of like having, but she can get mad, and she did. All right, baby girl, we should say goodnight to the people, and we'll see you tomorrow. So last night I was having like a hard time falling asleep, so I just kept working on this and hoping I would just get a little bit more tired as time went on, and I ended up doing, I think, a total of 2 or 3 inches. I'd measure, but I've tried it on and I know that it fits the way I want it to, so it doesn't really matter if it's 2 or 3 inches. And I think at this point, the last step is just to bind off, and then this one is done as well. I'm almost done with this bind off, so I'm gonna finish that and I'll talk to you in a second. And it's still too tight. 3rd time is the charm. I keep making it too tight. I've gotten so cocky because I did the same bind off. Like I haven't done this type of bind off in forever because I'm always doing ribbing or like an I-cord. So I always do like Italian bind off or I-cord bind offs. Anyways, so it's been a minute since I've done this one. I keep doing it too tight. And with the other projects, they were totally fine. But for this one, for some reason, I just cannot get it right and it keeps being too tight. I keep going up needle sizes. I finished all the pieces and we're gonna just reflect, maybe, while I put them on to ensure you that they do in fact fit the way I want them to. Also, I do not wear jewelry often, only because I don't really have a reason to. And I had fun breaking into my jewelry stash. I don't own like a ton of jewelry, and most of it is hand-me-downs. Like these earrings, this ear cuff, and this ear cuff, and this ring, all from my grandma. And I forgot how fun it is to play with jewelry, and I love mixing metals, so this is like super chaotic of a jewelry look for a lot of people. Like we got some turquoise and silver going on here, and then this is just a wild mess of jewelry, and I love it. I'm wearing 2 ear cuffs. I've never been happier with my jewelry selection. I feel like this is just about the weirdest way to film a sweater reveal, but I'm feeling very silly today. So we're on the floor. I also like this because I specifically, fun fact, I make sure to eat like a meal before I film my reveal shots because I have spent far too long thinking that the way to look good is looking as thin as possible. And I just want to dissuade that behavior in myself. So I specifically do things to try to deprogram that thought in my brain. So like for revealing this sweater, I'm sitting on the floor, the belly's out, like we're sitting, we're not standing, sucking everything in. No, we're sitting. And I just had a very big, very delicious breakfast. I'm feeling really good about my decision to give this sweater to my friend instead of keeping it myself, only because the raglan seams, like they come up a little bit too high in my underarm. And then it's like, it's just oversized in some areas and too tight in others due to the really tight way that I did the raglans. This was my 2nd ever sweater that I made. Self-drafted, in case I haven't mentioned that. I am extremely warm at the moment, which is really reinforcing why it's a smart decision for me to give this away. The friend that I am giving this to, she tried it on yesterday. It fits her great. She really likes it. So I'll hand it off to her today because I had to weave in the ends. I don't have any images of my friend wearing this, but if you have seen Mamma Mia 2, you know Lily James, who plays young Donna? She looks exactly like that. Like, that's what she looks like. So just picture her wearing this. She's so tall and slender that this looks like a really cropped, oversized quarter sleeve sweater. And it actually looks like really, really cute on her. And I don't mind the way it looks on me either. Like, I think I look cute in this too. I'm just so warm and it's just too high up in my underarms. Not digging that. But I'm glad she wanted the sleeve shaped like this because, oh my gosh, this was so much easier than peeling the whole sleeve back and having to do it, the whole thing tapered. That wouldn't have been that much effort, but it was just like stupid how easy this was. And then I'm also like really glad that the sleeves haven't really rolled much. The hem on the sleeves, I think they're just gonna stay somewhat unrolled, which is nice. I do like this one, and I'm glad I can get it out of my wardrobe so that I don't have to feel guilty about not wearing it anymore. Oh my gosh, sitting like that hurts. This is the piece that I am happiest about in this video. Like, I am the most jazzed to wear this. I wore it all day yesterday to work. For reference, yesterday it was 95 degrees outside. Neither my husband nor my car has air conditioning because they are both very old. And my workspace is extremely warm. Like, the lab I work in is usually pretty warm. So it's mostly t-shirts for me there during the summer because anything else is just way too hot. It's also a pretty casual workplace. But I wore this because like I just wasn't feeling any of my t-shirts. I just wasn't feeling cute. And I put this on with a pair of joggers and I felt cute. I felt so cute. And this is such a good summer knit. I was expecting to feel warm and uncomfortable, and when I finished the bind off on these sleeves, I was really worried that they were too tight. And I was like, gosh, I'm gonna have to redo them. It's not gonna be that much work, but it's still gonna be annoying. After a full day of wearing this, they're not too tight at all. It's just perfect. Like, everything about this is perfect. I'm super thrilled that I just did the neckline the way that I did with decreasing and just doing stockinette stitch and just decreasing as I went up. I'm really glad that I just did the regular bind off. Also, what is with all the regular bind offs that I've done in this video? I have not done that on a piece in so long. And I did that on every single item in this video. I just think that this is really cute. I'm happy. I'm so happy with this one. I'm definitely going to be wearing this quite a bit more. And this was what, like $7 worth of cotton because I used the cheapest cotton yarn in the world to make this. Oh, again, my legs. Oof. I gotta break these jeans in. They're still a bit tight. Do I have anything left to say about this top? Oh, you know what else? This top is actually making me consider making other pieces in gray. I don't like medium gray like my couch. It's just not my type of gray, but I think I like this really light pearlescent gray. Or like a dark charcoal, because black is a little too extreme for me. And that was a minute and a half of me talking about the color gray. Hope you enjoyed. Also, in case I forgot to mention it, this is also self-drafted, standard raglan. Anything else left to say? Anything else left to say? Oh, this top pairs well with like every pair of bottoms that I own. Like every skirt, every dress, every pair of pants, all my shorts. This looks like good with literally all of them. So it's a magic shirt is what I'm calling it. Like I can't picture a pair of pants that wouldn't look good with this shirt. Especially when I'm wearing it. I'm so cute. Let me just froggity hop away. What am I doing? What is this channel? Who am I? Okay, the tank top. Let's talk about it. But yeah, I don't know if you've noticed. It's a different color, and you can tell the new yarn is darker. So there are a couple things that I can do about this, and I am leaning towards doing nothing, sitting with it for a while, and then maybe considering over dyeing it. Other thoughts about this tank top? Yes, I have thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna raise the camera up to explain this one. So this was the very first tank top that I ever knit, and I do want to make more. However, I don't wear this a ton, partially because it was just too short before, and partially because it really, in my mind, it highlights pretty much every body insecurity that I have. It is fully highlighted by this top, and that's not to say it doesn't look good. I think if a friend were to watch me put on a bunch of outfits, They wouldn't point this one out and be like, yeah, you look terrible in that compared to all the other ones. I think that it would just kind of blend in. But in my mind, like this one just requires a lot more confidence to wear. I also like wearing it under stuff. I think that the texture of this tank top makes it extremely versatile, and I can't wait to make more hand knit cardigans because I feel like they would go really well with this. Like a really fluffy cardigan. I'm thinking like the Darling cardigan by Kuda Vakika. Like that would be a really good cardigan to pair with this. Do I have anything left to say about this? I don't think so. I still have the hardest time ending my videos. Like the first 10 seconds and the final 10 seconds, I have no idea what to do. But I don't have anything genuine to say other than end of video.
사실은